So my name is Clay Holland, and today I will be informing you on the dangers of ghost traps in Florida waters. So, to begin, raise your hand if you've ever heard of a ghost trap. Okay, so about half of you guys. So, to start, a ghost trap is considered a crab trap that is abandoned or lost to the tides and is no longer being fished, but is still fishing. So what that means is when a fisherman goes out to put the crab trap in the water and fishes it, they usually check it weekly or bi-weekly and to remove any dead marine life that could be used as bait in turn for the next cycle. But what is happening with derelict crab traps is that fish and crabs are getting stuck in these crab traps in which they will starve to death and die. Once they do this, they just become bait for the next cycle of marine life. So, crab traps and ghost traps poses a danger to much more just the fish and crabs. For example, boaters often hit these crab traps and disable their engine props by getting the lines stuck in their props. Also, sea mammals commonly get stuck in these and lose limbs and die, such as Winter the dolphin. And as mentioned by Newsbank, the Alafia River has recently had a ghost trap cleanup where they have cleaned up over 100 traps. This is very significant because the Alafia River is actually a brackish estuary in which many varieties of life use. And with this narrow river, there is a high probability for boat traffic to have incidents. Also, Tampa Bay has a high fishing rate of blue crabs and stone crabs. As mentioned by Tom and Terry, most crabs in Tampa Bay are blue or stone crabs, and also these blue and stone crabs are a huge source of revenue for a lot of our local anglers. So with that, these people's livelihood depend on these crabs. So if we're just wasting this life, then that is taking economic value from somewhere within our community. So, prevention and action. Have any of you guys ever heard of a ghost trap rodeo event? You can raise your hands. Okay, so about half of you guys again. So, these ghost trap rodeo events are the first blockade of preventing ghost traps from entering and killing marine life. So, nonprofit groups such as OceanAid 360 host the Ghost Trap Rodeo event, which is a fishing tournament style like roundup of these ghost traps. With this, whoever brings in the most marine debris is allotted the most points, and whoever has the most points gets the best prizes. Many of these volunteers go on to be avid boaters for the rest of their lives. With that, we are setting the skill set needed to spread awareness for safe crabbing and boating. These people can spread awareness by word of mouth, talking with other boating communities, and the children who participate in these community events go on to grow up to be safe and avid boaters, and can go on to teach the next generation of crabbers and boaters safe practices. Also, so ghost traps continue to fish and kill and trap animals, kill marine life, and endanger boaters. So, back to the cycle of the ghost trap. At first, when the sea life starves to death, decomposes, acts as bait for the next victim, and then starts the cycle all over again. This is why there's a need for a breakaway system. This would be a decomposable chunk in the crab trap that would decompose after a month or so, allowing marine life to exit and leave and live. So, St. Pete Times study also finds that traps become lost after storms and get pushed away with the tides, and often become caught in currents and and channels. And with this, boaters often will hit these lines. So here's a picture of volunteers actively participating in the Ghost Trap Rodeo. These people will likely share their experience with their kids and family and start the new generation of safe anglers. So here's a picture of a prop that has a ghost trap stuck in it, and they are likely to be stuck out there for a while. So this was likely pushed away by a storm and disabled their engine. And so, on another note, it's estimated between 16 and 30% of king crabs in Alaska are being affected by these ghost traps because there's no regulation for commercial guides to go back and pick up the traps that they have lost from their fishing season. So let's say crabbers go out and they have 1,000 traps in the beginning of the season, and when they come back, they only have 880. So that's 120 traps that are still fishing out there. And it's very common that they lose these. It happens all the time. And that was mentioned by the Fishery Bulletin. And here is a picture of Winter the dolphin. Winter the dolphin actually lost her tail due to one of these marine ghost traps, just like this one. So what happened is that the line somehow got entangled with Winter's tail, and actually the trap was still attached to it. So as Winter was trying to eat and survive, it was just kind of dragging her down and slowing her down until she washed up onto the beach, where luckily volunteers from the Marine Hospital picked her up and likely saved her life that day. And also, dolphins aren't the only marine mammals that are affected by this. For sea turtles and manatees are also affected by these ghost traps. And here's a picture of a manatee with a ghost trap wrapped around its tail as well. So, cleaning up our waters for our future. Non-profit groups like Ocean Aid 360 are currently the first defense for these, and CCA Florida and NOAA Ocean Aid Association. This gives an opportunity for community building and bringing the community together to focus on various issues. And prizes are awarded just like a fishing tournament as an incentive for these members to come out. Yeah, so basically ghost traps are dangerous to sea life and boaters, hinder economic development in the fishing industry, and can be eradicated only with your help. So, how will you take action to help fight Tampa Bay's ghost trap epidemic? So now we will enter the Q&A session. Is there any questions specifically on ghost traps? One thing I forgot to mention though is what qualifies a trap as a ghost trap. So to be qualified as a ghost trap, it needs to, a fishable trap is considered to have 6 intact sides, a line with an attached buoy, and an ID number to identify the fisherman who owns the trap. Okay, now do we have any questions? Yes, ma'am.
Do you think modern technology could help, such as an app, a locating app to the fisherman, so he knows how many traps he has out there if they get lost in a storm?
Yeah, I think that would be very beneficial, but to not only like track those traps, but maybe to like manage the condition of what the traps are in. Maybe he could log it. Maybe that can be incorporated to where like an app to where they could see where the best fishing spots are, to like maybe facilitate more use of that app. But also I think mostly we just need a change in policy to report traps from the commercial fishermen once they lose them, just so we know how many are getting out there.
Who might report it?
Well, I would think that would be a responsibility of the fishermen. If that was a change in policy, maybe by FWC would be the one who gathered all that information and then did something with it.
I agree with that.
Yes, ma'am.
I was wondering how many, in 6 ghost trap rodeos that you had over this past year, how many approximately traps were collected by volunteers?
Okay, so there were a couple thousand pounds of marine debris that were collected and probably around 300 ghost traps. And that is very huge. It's kind of hard to judge how much marine life you are conserving with that, but surely it's very substantial.
When they have these ghost rodeos and they bring the traps in, do they try to go back to the fishermen or the owners of these traps and perhaps impose some kind of a penalty on them for not trying to recover them?
Yeah, so currently there is no penalty for losing your traps out to sea because quite frankly, it's kind of hard to prevent or go to pick up your trap once you lose it. So yeah, there's currently no penalties.
What's the first step in change?
So the first step that I believe that we should take is just basically spreading awareness, because I'm sure we've all been an avid boater sometime in our life. So maybe you can share with your friends and family what you've learned today, and then they can go on to share that with their friends and family. Yes, sir.
So when organizations like OceanAid pick up the traps and take them out of the water, what do they do with them after that?
Good question. So after these traps are collected, they're actually broken down and then put on a trailer and sent up north to create oyster beds, because we have a huge issue with the erosion of oyster beds, and ghost crab traps like these act as a huge facilitator of oyster growth. And so this is a great foundation for the new set of life to grow on top of it.
Don't they have oyster beds to be created locally?
Yeah, I'm sure they can be applied locally, but currently the Tampa Bay Watch, who works with the OceanAid 360, has a specific project where they're trying to revive certain oyster beds. Okay, so now we'll begin the critique section. So, Jonna, would you please come up here and host it?
So, from show of hands, who gained attention? Did Clay gain attention and interest? By show of hands, did Clay use effective transitions?
Yes.
And by show of hands, did Clay appear confident? Do you have any more critiques?
I have one critique. One critique that I would suggest is to highlight the names of the people that sponsor the support of the OceanAid 360 and the Ghost Trap Rodeo, like NOAA and also the Conservation Association for Florida. Just a little bit more. And your head was turned. That's the only critique, otherwise spot on.
I think it was very, very well put together and introduced the entire point that he was trying to convey, and he really did it very well. That was very good.
And just for the last point, I would like to add that there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 audience members.
And one on FaceTime.
And one on FaceTime.
From
so
Dallas,
13
Texas.
total. 30.
Good job, Clay.
Great job.
Thank you guys for listening.